Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the latest in the NORA Webcast series. Just to explain, for people who have not been with us before, the NORA Webcast series is a place where we can dig a little bit deeper with organizations who are involved with the NORAs, not only sponsors and judges, but also finalists and winners. After the NORAs event itself, which is on the 10th of November, 2 weeks from yesterday, after the winners have been announced, we're going to have a continuation of the NORA Webcast series where we'll have shows with winners of awards. So people who have picked up one of these, they will be coming on as guests, and what we'll want to do there is to dig a little bit deeper into what made them award worthy, what got them to that point in the first place. But today we have a very special guest, and we're going to be speaking about cutting edge technology. Just to recap, if anyone hadn't picked up on all the information, I put some more details out on Twitter earlier. For everyone who's come to the NORAs on the 10th of November, if you go to norauk.com, you can book your tickets there. You can find out much more about the event. One of the top questions that I'm asked is, what's the dress code? So the event is in a relatively fancy venue, but it's not black tie, it's not ball gowns, and we're not serving chicken dinners. It's not that kind of event. The NORAs is designed to be strong on networking, strong on partying, and we want to make sure that everyone's able to have the best time possible. We have a live band on stage. We have lots of people in the venue. We are making sure that the venue is as COVID safe as possible. We do encourage we ask that everyone who's coming along has been double vaxxed, and of course with the layout being quite different to the former venue that we had at Sway the nightclub, then with the cabaret tables and so on, that people will be just that bit more spaced out. So please go to the NORA website if you're looking to organize your tickets. Please contact me directly if you have any other questions. But moving on, for today's show, I have a fantastic guest that I'm going to invite on stage. Steve Beckett is with Sourcebreaker, and Sourcebreaker are sponsors of Steve's going to tell me when it comes on. I always get these things mixed up. But Steve, let's welcome Steve to the stage. Steve, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Stephen. Thank you for having me.
That's great to have you here. So, for the benefit of our audience, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and Sourcebreaker?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Steve Beckett, founder of Sourcebreaker. Sourcebreaker is a matching technology for recruiters. So we help recruiters to identify more of the best candidates and then at the click of a button, match them to live opportunities taken direct from employer websites.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. The point that had escaped me just earlier is that Sourcebreaker are sponsors of our Best Trade Publication Award. Actually, the Best Trade Publication Award is one of those hidden but really important awards that we have, because trade publications in the UK are every single industry has their own community, if you like, which is served by trade publications. And not so much are they creating magazines that go out in the post these days, but it's online, and it's online communities, and it's communities where they're sharing an amazing amount of knowledge, expertise, and insight to particular industry sectors. So for that, it's really important to be recognised. So getting back to yourselves, people who won't know too much about Sourcebreaker, when they see the term AI mentioned, people often have all sorts of preconceptions. In practice, what does it mean when you say we have artificial intelligence built into what we do and how we do it?
Sure. So from Sourcebreaker's perspective, the subset of the technology, the AI technology within our platform will be what's called natural language processing. So what that is a form of machine learning that will analyze text documents that, in our perspective, that would be a job spec, or that could alternatively be a candidate. And what the system will do is it'll analyze loads and loads of documents, so candidates, jobs, and be able to identify on those documents what might be a job title, what might be a skill set, what might be a qualification, for example, without getting overly technical. That's called, you have what's called name entity recognition taggers, and that will be able to look at a document and say, right, yeah, this is experience, this is a qualification. And then if you put enough documents through that machine, the system learns as it goes and starts to understand associations between words and experiences. And that's how you're then able to create a search, which is incredibly accurate, because a recruiter might be looking for a Java developer, for example.
Yeah.
And our system will understand, right, a Java developer is the same thing as a Java engineer or a Java software programmer, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So your platform will index a database of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of CVs, read every single word that's on a CV and understand accurately what this candidate is about, and be able to then accurately search for candidates based on what a job requirement is, and much more accurately than previous technology or a human would be doing.
Yeah, so the way that our technology specifically works currently is we have a real top-class ontology, it would be described as, where there's it's essentially a knowledge graph. So what that means is there's relationships created between millions and millions of different words and various different strengths in relationships. And so our system will be able to understand a very close relationship between words. So for example, Java and PHP, sticking on the tech side of things, or account manager and salesperson. They're conceptually similar, but they're actually different things. Whereas a salesperson and a sales executive would be essentially like an identical terminology, and that allows our users to search in a highly accurate way, both for candidates and for jobs.
So as it's artificial intelligence, I imagine it's working 24/7, but it's also learning from how it is used by recruiters. If recruiters are searching for particular types of candidates and selecting them to be put forward to interview and second interview, and ultimately being successful for a job, the system is learning from those behaviors what good looks like.
Yeah, so the way that we would do it is a very, very significant element is important element is the human interaction with the system. So the machines can take you so far. So I personally haven't seen a machine, certainly in the recruitment industry, that doesn't rely on human interaction to help it develop and help it improve. And so, we would absolutely work closely with the recruiters in terms of how they're searching, so they can update and improve the platform themselves with the way that they're searching, as well as relying on our technology as well. So very much human intelligence paired with the artificial intelligence.
Fantastic. So it'll search through the database of any recruitment agency to find those candidates. Will it search through any other external databases, or is it essentially the ATS?
Yes, it will search through CV databases like Reed, Monster, JobSite, and all those types of platforms. It'll also search through CRM systems like Bullhorn, Cherry, JobAdder, Salesforce, and then also into LinkedIn as well. The difference with LinkedIn is we don't index anything from LinkedIn. What we'll do is we'll create the search, put it into LinkedIn, and people will get far better results from their LinkedIn searches. But we don't actually physically integrate with LinkedIn like we would with the CRM system or the job boards.
Fantastic. So it's a great way if you've got a CV database access to any of these job boards, these CV databases, then it's a great way of finding candidates in a much more intuitive way or a much more informed way than relying on their own internal search systems, which we'll know can be a little bit on the flawed side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect. I think you just broke up a little bit there, Steve. So Sourcebreaker, now we have an understanding of what Sourcebreaker is and is done. In the past 18 months, we know what's going on worldwide. There's been the worldwide pandemic and health crisis. How has Sourcebreaker evolved in that time? And where are you now?
Yeah, sure. So from a business perspective, I think we've done many of the things that other businesses have done, which is move to a much more flexible working model. So previously, the overwhelming majority of our business would be on site, 5 days, potentially 4 in some cases, 5 days a week. Nowadays, it's far more flexible. So our commercial teams will still spend more days in than out, and our technical teams will spend more days out than in. So a number of those types of adjustments, a lot more flexibility. From an actual business perspective, we were quite well positioned in terms of our product set to weather the storm. So we were affected like everybody else. Absolutely, we didn't grow by anywhere near the amounts that we'd have liked to. But actually, because we have a focus on both identifying candidates for people, but also identifying job opportunities, in times when it's a really candidate short market, the candidate element of our platform becomes even more valuable to people. And then during hard times, tougher markets when jobs are at a premium, that part of the platform becomes even more important. So what we saw was a shift in people focusing on the candidate side to very much the job side. And now we've seen a huge shift back to people focusing on the candidate side. I've never seen a market quite like this before.
It seems to be fishtailing like a stolen car in a lot of ways. But that switch to a candidate dry market where there are much more vacancies than candidates applying. Candidates aren't applying for jobs in nearly the volumes that they used to. So people who are advertising on job boards or on their own websites or agency websites, they're not getting applications in the same volume that they used to. So they're much more reliant on being able to go and find the candidates and go and find the candidates more accurately, go to them, speak to them about a vacancy, pitch the opportunity to them, and the ability to find candidates that otherwise were not being found. I know from experience that on any database, candidates are often miscategorized. And great candidates are already in your system, but you're not finding them. But if you've got a system that can read every word on a CV and identify the skills in there, then you're going to come up with candidates that are eminently placeable. And in fact, if you're doing that and the candidate's on your competitor's CV database, then if you're able to find the candidate and they are not, then those are the diamonds that result in fees for agencies and placements for employers. So in terms of AI development and automation in the recruiting sector, you're really at the forefront of developing things. What kind of pushback or welcome are you getting from the industry in general? Are people crying out for it, or are they resistant, thinking this is something we don't entirely understand? Do you find yourself having to educate people?
So I think in the early days, absolutely, we did. I think now we've been around for 7 or so years and worked with all different ends of the market, from the Hazes and S3s of the world all the way through to one person business in between. It's a lot easier now because there's all those proof points from previous companies. So when people say, well, how do we know your solution works, you're able to point to a body of work that demonstrates that the platform's effective. But certainly when we started out, there was a lot of resistance to it because we were going in and saying that we've got this product that's going to help you find double, triple, quadruple the volume of candidates, and they're going to be really good quality as well. And if you think from a recruiter's perspective, what people pride themselves on is their ability to find candidates. That's what a recruiter does. And so we found a lot of resistance from people saying, well, hold on, we already know how to find candidates, we already know how to search. And the way that we combated that was we would say to people, look, send us a search you're doing currently. We'll have a look at that search, we'll look at the volume of candidates, we'll then put that search through our system, and then we'll see what the uptick in candidates is and the quality improvement as well. And if there's sufficient added value for you to invest in the product, great. If there isn't, let's stop there. And that was really effective for us because then it was in black and white for people. They would find 46 candidates from their search, and then they would put it through Sourcebreaker, and we'd find 126, for example. And so that really helped. You'd still even get resistance at that point, but that really helped to get the message across. And I think now it's becoming more and more established. It's certainly a lot easier. Yeah.
So speaking as an old school agency recruiter, when I saw and found out about Sourcebreaker initially, I thought this is going to change everything because the speed to be able to find the candidate is absolutely essential. You need to find people before your competitors. So the ability to find those candidates in the blinking of an eye is absolutely vital. If you've got a system that's helping you do that and it can be working through the night, identifying candidates that are suitable for your vacancies, then absolutely. The ability to have a system unearth candidates that you might have otherwise been setting aside because there may be some sort of bias in your mind against certain types of candidates or for other types of candidates, and it might be as simple as you or the employer prefer candidates who have had certain types of backgrounds. They've gone to this university, they've previously worked at these types of organizations, when in actual fact there are great candidates out there who have different qualifications, who have worked in different types of employers, but absolutely have the skills that you're looking for. And these are candidates you might have set aside before, but now your bias is being counteracted by the system saying this candidate has everything you're looking for. You should be considering this candidate, and setting aside any other preconceptions you might have. That absolutely helps when you're thinking about diversity and inclusion and equity.
Absolutely.
And again, unearthing candidates that your competitors wouldn't think to look at more closely and submit to the client. And when clients have a necessity for a more diverse range of candidates being interviewed and hired, then that's got to be a big bonus there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't a question. I kind of went off on one there.
No, I'm with you.
My apologies. So here's something that I won't answer the question, but I'm going to ask you. Yeah. How does this technology, how does what you do affect the experience of recruiters and of job seekers themselves? How do they feel the benefit of that? Even if they don't know Sourcebreaker is the technology being used, how do they feel the benefit of that?
Sure. So I think quite different for both those parties. So from the recruiter standpoint, Sourcebreaker should be saving people 1 hour to 2 hours per day. So that's an enormous amount of productivity revisited to a recruiter who's got a revenue target on their head, and then also providing them with more candidates, more high quality candidates that are placeable and more high quality opportunities to put those candidates into. It gives them more revenue generating opportunities. So from a recruiter's perspective, it sets them up to be successful from day one. Then from the candidate side of things, I think we've all been in a situation where we've been called about a job that's not necessarily particularly relevant for us, or we've been sent a candidate that's not necessarily relevant for the role that we're hiring for. And I think a good quality matching product should mean that the quality of the candidates that are going forward for a role and the quality of opportunities being put in front of the candidate is dramatically increased. And so rather than just a simple keyword match for a candidate for a role, they get a phone call about a job that's not actually remotely relevant for them, but they just happen to have a buzzword on their CV, that should reduce dramatically. So candidates should be getting far more calls that are specifically relevant to their skill set, opportunities that are relevant to their skill set. And with any luck, that's helping improve a candidate's perspective on the industry when they're getting more relevant contacts about roles for them.
Yeah. You touched on something there that actually has, I think, a huge knock-on effect to the daily work of a recruiter, and that's the amount of time that they're saving. So you would reckon it can save you how much in a day?
Yeah, so 1 hour to 2 hours a day, depending on exactly what you're working on.
So if I'm a frontline recruiter and I've got an additional, hour to 2 hours a day to do other stuff, the dilemma there, I suppose, would be, do I handle more vacancies? And right now recruiters have more vacancies than they can handle, so it might mean that they can actually get the work done rather than working into the night. But handling, you can either take on more vacancies, you could offer more by way of service, which would be interaction time with your clients and with candidates. If you're able to speak with candidates much more, then you understand them more and you're able to represent them better. And of course, if you're able to speak more and interact more with your clients, your hiring managers, then you'll have a much better understanding of what's going to be a successful hire for them. So the ability to give that level of service, I think, is vital to not only making the hire in the first place, but making sure that it's a good hire, it's someone who's going to be a success with that company and will be there for a good amount of time. And more than that, that candidates are less likely to be ultimately ghosting if they're offered the job, that they fade away, because the problem of candidates ghosting right now is normally as a result of either no or poor interaction with recruiters and the hiring process. They don't feel that they're getting the attention that they should be getting, and they go off elsewhere where someone has given them that attention. So technology that gives you time to spend on those other things is has a real monetary value to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my view is that agency recruiters are hired specifically for their ability to persuade candidates to take roles and persuade hiring managers to take candidates. And all technology should be focusing on enabling recruiters to spend more time on the phone rather than doing, the time-consuming administrative type tasks of scouring the internet, sourcing, that kind of thing. It should be identify the candidates, identify the opportunities, and spend the time engaging with them exactly as you talk about there.
Yeah, I worked in an agency. 30 years ago now, and the director at the agency. Hold on a second. It's a bit of a noise in the background there. Someone's crumpling a packet of crisps. The director at the agency, whenever there was a vacancy with a client, say it was for a quality manager, he would simply open the filing cabinet for quality managers and send the entire file to the client for the client to do the work. And of course, that was no level of service at all. And you would expect the recruiter to be able to do that and do that accurately. When you present 10 candidates to a client, the client expects that all 10 are viable possibilities for this job, not that they're going to have to sift out 5 out of the 10 or 3 out of the 10 for interview. They expect everyone to be spot on. So the accuracy of the matching is vital, and especially where you have recruiters who are maybe less experienced than others, then when the system is able to help them be more accurate, then that helps them to be a better recruiter.
Absolutely.
I've just gone and answered my own question again there. my apologies. So in terms of the NORAs, I know you've been in the industry for a long time. In terms of the NORAs, we are always looking for the very best in job boards, agencies, employers, publications, and so on. Have you managed to have a Louise has just mentioned there. I need tips on asking questions. Thank you very much, Louise. But have you had a gaze over the companies that have been shortlisted as finalists this year?
Yes, absolutely. I think a couple that stand out to me right at the moment. One slightly larger, so Lawrence Harvey, or LHI as they go by these days. I think a business that's going like a rocket ship at the moment. They've grown really, really effectively, doing really well in the US as well, and I've gone down that multi-brand strategy route. And I think another one as well, Soda, part of the Trenovo group, I believe, is one of those. But people executing really well on that multi-brand strategy. There's a load of really good applications and good businesses on there. But I think Lawrence Harvey at the moment, or LHI, I should say, really standing out as a high-performing, high-growth business.
Lawrence Harvey have been multiple finalists, and I think I'd have to check, but I've got a vague memory of them being a winner quite some time ago. But I know that they've been multiple finalists in the NORAs, and they've had various evolutions of their not only their website but their whole hiring process. They are very proactive when it comes to looking at new ways of doing things and continually evolving, continually improving what they do. And that's what we look for. I'm sure there's a whole range of companies that are finalists that have been clients of yours in the past. Certainly, what we're looking forward to seeing are organizations who embrace technology and technology like Sourcebreaker, if I'm being honest, where they can give that better service to candidates and to clients. And make the match much more accurate for everyone involved. So, as a fast-growing organization, you have access to mountains of data through your clients, and your AI technology is reading immense amounts of information. What trends have you seen in the evolution of the employment marketplace in the past year, and how do you see things evolving in the next 3, 6, 12 months?
Sure. So do you mean from a general market standpoint or from a technology standpoint?
General market standpoint from a candidate's perspective, especially, but the availability of vacancies, of candidates, the matching between the two, the reluctance of some people to be a bit shy when it comes to looking to move on, and so on.
So I think probably echoing what many people in the space are saying at the moment, which is the market is really booming from a candidate perspective. So it's a great time to be a recruiter, because there's when there's a shortage of candidates, there's lots of opportunity. I think there's so much choice for candidates right at the moment that the flexibility available to people, I think, will remain. There are a number of big businesses, people like Goldman Sachs, a lot of the big tech companies are saying they want people back in the office more and more. But because of the power that candidates have at the moment, companies, the employees in these businesses are pushing back quite hard. So I think more and more the flexibility side of things, better holiday, better benefits. We're really moving very quickly away from, the employers having the power. We've been moving for some time, but really quickly away from the employers being the power, the people in power, and candidates being grateful for the job. It's very much, you need to be making sure that one, the comp is really good for candidates, but actually everything that surrounds that is really good. So mental health support, flexible working. There's no excuse now for your working environment not to be a really pleasant, upbeat place to be. There's just such a shortage of quality candidates. Candidates have got a lot of power in the job market, and as they should do.
Yeah. So in terms of going back to Sourcebreaker, what are the plans for growth there? How many people are in the organization at the minute?
So there's about 70 of us now on a permanent basis, and then probably including sort of reasonably permanent offshore workers as well, knocking the door of about 100. So for us, it's very much continuing on the growth journey we've been on previously. So our vision to be the global leader in AI-driven talent matching. And what that means for us is continuing to expand our presence in the UK. I think we've developed a really strong reputation in the UK and started to win a number of the larger organizations, and it's continuing that journey into the US first and foremost, and then on into Europe and the Asia Pacific region as well, to continue to make an impact in the market and get ourselves to the top in terms of revenue growth and global reach.
Fantastic. I take it we're going to see a whole clutch of people coming along from Sourcebreaker for the NORAs in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
I hope you're going to bring some clients as well.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. I'll make sure we get on the case to get people along.
Okay. I can see we have a question here from Fred in the chat bar. What is your current market penetration and capabilities with the US?
Yeah, sure. So hi, Fred. Nice to meet you. We've already got a really good presence in the US. We work with in excess of 50 companies in the US currently, and that will range from anything from some of the multinationals with a presence over in the US. We work with a brand most people are familiar with. I think Staffmark is quite a well-known brand who are getting really well with their products. So we've got really good coverage across pretty much every professional sector, a lot of blue collar as well, and a growing presence over there. It's a big focus for us, and continuing to service in the US. We work with the major job boards, the major CRM systems as well. So it's quite a seamless integrated product in the US now. So
I think the ability to integrate with those job boards, and as you were saying with LinkedIn before, is absolutely crucial. And of course with the ability to reach out and find candidates on those remote platforms, combined with searching your own current database, it really gives the AI the bandwidth to learn on a continual basis. So it's I'm going to be watching Sourcebreaker much more closely. I'd love to see technology like this taking off. I apologize for me answering some of the questions myself.
You did a far better job than I would have done, Stephen, so don't worry.
It's a subject that I'm really passionate about, I have to say. So once I start off, then it's hard to stop. So I apologize for that.
Good.
I noticed that time-wise, we're coming close to the end. Before the NORA's coming up, we obviously have we're trying to encourage as many people as possible to come along. You've been to the NORA's yourself before. I know. What's your experience of being at the Online Recruitment Awards night?
Yeah, it's a fabulous experience. I think the guys always enjoy it. That's why I'm back again this year. I tend to pick and choose my awards that I go to. Making sure that I'm along to the NORA's this time. I think it's a good counterbalance to the really more formal ones with the black tie and everything like that. It's a relaxed environment, like you say. The partying is key, it's always a really good night. So looking forward to it.
Certainly the case. Everyone who's been to the NORA's has a story of some sort to tell. So there's going to be some stories after this one, I'll tell you, especially in the new venue. So with that, Steve, can I say thank you very much for being my guest?
Yeah, thanks very much for having
me. You've been fabulous. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, watching either live in Crowdcast or live on all of the social media platforms we're streaming out to. And of course, anyone who's watching on replay. This recording will be posted as a blog on the NORA website just shortly as well. In the meantime, Steve, thank you very much again. Thanks everyone for joining us. And I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you, then.
Cheers, Stephen. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.